We are entering the third millennium, and as such, Theosophy needs to grow, needs to change. As Gail Sheehy says, if we don't change, we don't grow. And if we don't grow, we aren't really living. That applies not only to individuals, it applies to organizations. Theosophy for the third millennium must shift some of its perceptions, must grow its perceptions. One of the perceptions that needs to change in Theosophy is our perception of the size of God. We need to move from the concept that the universe and God are one and the same, or what's called pantheism, and enlarge our understanding of God. Understand that we are inside God. God is greater than the universe. What is known as panentheism. A second change that needs to take place in Theosophy for the third millennium is modifying our understanding of consciousness. In the 20th century, Theosophy held to the concept that consciousness, that all things are conscious. We need to shift that perception to the concept that consciousness is in all things. It would appear to be the same perception, but in actuality, the nuance is extremely different. Thirdly, we have to invert our perception of God. We need to move to the concept that God is a verb. God is knowing. God is all-knowing. Versus God is a noun, or God knows all. In the 20th century, we perceive God as an object, a thing, a noun that has knowing. We need to advance our concept to the understanding that God is knowing itself. Not knowing itself in terms of self-knowing, but God is knowing. We need to invert our perception of individuals. If God is knowing, then we need to understand our true essence is a verb. We also are knowing. Versus the 20th century perception that we are nouns, that we are things that know. For the third millennium, we must, as an organization, let go of Blavatsky's loathing of Christianity. There is no doubt that Christians did many abhorrent things throughout its history. The concept of the genocide of the indigenous peoples of North America, Central America, South America, Australia, New Zealand, and parts of Africa are beyond a doubt tremendously evil actions. But it was not Christianity that took these actions. Rather, it was the institutions that took the actions. The concept of Christianity, the concept of love unconditionally, is a wonderful message. Likewise, the world needs to back off from its judgmental perceptions of Theosophy. It can no more blame Blavatsky for Hitler's actions than we can blame Jesus for the actions that led to the annihilation of the Knights Templar, of the Gnostics, of the North American Indians, of the Central American cultures and so forth. Theosophy, the search for truth, universal truth, has been around for thousands of years. We must seek the process of having institutions throughout the world try to condemn theosophy because of the actions of a few men, such as Stalin and Hitler. Theosophy must reestablish our true purpose, which is to advance the evolutionary development of our understanding regarding humankind's true nature, which is, we were made in the image of God. God is divine. We are divine. As such, we must work towards the goal of being treated as divine entities. We must work towards the goal of having others being treated as divine entities, which means we must protect individuals throughout society, even if we must incarcerate individuals who refuse to acknowledge the special status of individuals. And to survive, Theosophy has no choice but to reestablish a place for theosophers within its ranks. In the 20th century, Theosophers could not be found in the Theosophical Society. How ironic. We must go back to the concept of searching for truth. There's nothing wrong with having subgroups who look to yoga, look to the Masons, look to different subgroups and sub-actions. But the primary goal of Theosophy must be recognized. It is a search for truth, not self-fulfillment. Thus we come back to Gail Sheehy's quote, "If we don't change as a society, if we don't grow, we aren't really living. And if we don't grow as a society, we will eventually just disappear. Slowly but surely fade away."